Have you noticed how many men over 50 enter relationships not from desire, but from fear of being alone? There's a quiet anxiety many men carry into their 50s and 60s, one rarely spoken about. It's not weakness, it's not desperation, it's the subtle fear of emptiness. The fear that if no one is beside them, something must be wrong. And that fear quietly pushes many men into relationships they never truly examined. At this stage of life, the danger isn't women. The danger is attachment without awareness. After divorce, loss, or years of emotional neglect, attention can feel intoxicating. A simple smile, interest, or affection suddenly feels like proof of worth. And without realizing it, many men lower boundaries they spent decades building just to keep that feeling alive. Stoic philosophy warns against this exact mistake. Never attach your happiness to something you cannot control. A relationship, by its nature, is uncertain. Yet many older men unconsciously believe a girlfriend will fill emotional gaps that only purpose, discipline, and self-respect can truly repair. This isn't about rejecting connection. It's about recognizing when connection becomes a substitute for inner strength. At this age, you bring qualities younger men don't yet possess: stability, emotional calm, experience, financial understanding, grounded presence. Often, what's desired isn't you, but what your life represents. Think of it like this. When someone owns something valuable, people naturally gather around it. Because before discussing why a relationship may cost you more than it gives, you must first understand the emotional force pushing you into one. And that force is rarely love. It's fear disguised as hope. What if the interest you're receiving isn't about love, but about what your life provides? As men move into their 50s and 60s, something subtle changes. You stop chasing, you're calmer, more grounded, less reactive. You've built stability financially, emotionally, mentally, and suddenly attention appears more easily than it did years ago. This can feel flattering, reassuring, even validating. But Stoic wisdom urges one critical question: why now? Many women in this age range aren't searching for romance in the way younger men imagine. They're searching for security, steadiness, and relief from uncertainty. This isn't cruelty or manipulation, it's human nature. But it becomes dangerous when a man mistakes need for desire. Attraction built on convenience rarely survives inconvenience. But a man with structure, resources, and emotional control often becomes a solution rather than a partner. Without realizing it, you may step into a role where you provide stability, guidance, and emotional grounding while receiving far less in return. The imbalance doesn't announce itself loudly. It creeps in quietly. You start paying for more things. You begin adjusting your schedule. You become the emotional anchor, the listener, the fixer, the one who absorbs stress so the relationship stays smooth. At first, this feels like leadership. Over time, it becomes depletion. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what is chosen and what is assumed. But many men never consciously choose these roles. They slide into them because they don't want to lose the connection. This is where boundaries weaken. When attention feels scarce, men cling. When companionship feels fragile, they overgive. And slowly, the relationship shifts from mutual to transactional without either person explicitly acknowledging it. There's an old analogy. When you own something valuable, people enjoy being around it. But when the value disappears, so does the company. A wise man asks whether people are drawn to him more to what he provides. Older men often realize this too late. They enter relationships believing they're appreciated for who they are, only to discover they've become responsible for maintaining someone else's emotional and practical comfort. And once that dynamic is established, reversing it becomes nearly impossible. This isn't about blaming women, it's about men recognizing patterns. But at this stage of life, your stability is powerful. But power without awareness becomes vulnerability. The Stoic approach is not rejection, it's discernment. Observe how quickly expectations appear. Notice how soon responsibility shifts. Pay attention to whether your life is expanding or shrinking. Because once your time, energy, and peace begin revolving around someone else's needs, the cost becomes clear. And this leads directly to the next truth many men don't see coming: how quickly freedom disappears. You wait decades to finally feel free, so why give it up so easily? For many men, the 50s and 60s are the first time life truly slows down. The pressure eases, the chaos settles. Children are grown, careers are stable or finished. Mornings feel quieter, decisions feel clearer. For the first time in a long while, your life actually belongs to you. This freedom is hard-earned, yet it's often the very thing men unknowingly trade away when they enter a relationship without reflection. At first, the changes seem small. You adjust your schedule slightly. You skip a hobby here and there. You postpone personal plans to be flexible. None of it feels dramatic. In fact, it feels reasonable, like compromise. But compromise has a quiet side. Over time, your calendar fills with obligations that aren't yours. Weekends start revolving around someone else's routines. Personal rituals, solitude, learning slowly fade into the background. You don't stop because you want to, but because keeping peace feels easier than explaining your needs. Stoicism teaches that freedom is not external, it's internal. It's the ability to choose how you spend your time, energy, and attention. Once those choices are guided by someone else's emotional comfort, freedom quietly dissolves. What makes this stage of life different is energy. At 25, you can recover from imbalance quickly. At 55, imbalance costs more. Stress affects sleep more deeply. Emotional weight lingers longer. The margin for recovery shrinks. When freedom disappears now, it doesn't bounce back easily. Many men believe companionship naturally enhances life. Sometimes it does. But often, the companionship received does not match the autonomy surrendered. You begin managing moods, anticipating reactions, adjusting behavior to avoid friction. Without realizing it, your inner world becomes reactive instead of centered. Your peace becomes conditional. This is not strength. It's self-abandonment dressed as loyalty. The Stoic principle of the inner fortress becomes crucial here. Your peace, once compromised, invites further compromise. The more you give up, the more is expected. And because you are capable, calm, and reliable, the weight continues to fall on you. What started as connection slowly becomes obligation. Men rarely notice the moment it happens. There's no single argument or decision, but just a series of small concessions that stack over time. One cancelled plan, one unspoken need, one moment of silence instead of honesty. Eventually, you wake up and realize your life feels smaller. Not because someone took something from Ubu, because you handed it over gradually. Freedom after 50 is not selfish. It's sacred. And once it's gone, reclaiming it becomes far harder than protecting it in the first place. This realization leads directly into the next truth. Many men underestimate the emotional weight they quietly take on. What if the relationship you entered for comfort slowly turns you into someone else's emotional support system? This is one of the least discussed realities for men over 50, yet one of the most common. At this stage of life, relationships often come with emotional weight that isn't immediately visible. What begins as companionship can quietly evolve into caretaking without a clear moment where you agreed to it. Women in their 50s and 60s often carry full lives behind them: past marriages, divorces, lingering resentments, complicated relationships with adult children, health concerns, financial stress, aging parents, years of emotional fatigue. None of this makes them weak or flawed, it makes them human. But here's the issue. When you are a calm, grounded, reliable man, you naturally become the one who absorbs these pressures. Not because you're asked directly, but because you're capable. You listen, you stabilize it, you reassure. You step in when things feel overwhelming. And slowly, you become the emotional anchor of the relationship. The one who holds space. The one who fixes problems. The one who stays steady when emotions run high. Stoicism cautions strongly against this pattern, not because compassion is wrong, but because taking responsibility for someone else's inner world comes at a cost. Every emotional burden you carry for someone else takes space away from your own clarity. Men often underestimate how draining this becomes over time. Emotional labor doesn't announce itself as exhaustion. It shows up as irritability, loss of motivation, physical fatigue, or a quiet sense of heaviness. You start needing more rest, more solitude, more recovery, yet the demands keep growing. At this age, energy is precious. When you were younger, you could weather emotional storms without much consequence. Now, those storms linger. Stress impacts your health more deeply. Mental fatigue affects your focus. Emotional overload dulls your enthusiasm for life. And the most dangerous part, this caretaking role often feels noble. You tell yourself you're being supportive, understanding, strong, but strength without boundaries turns into erasure. You begin organizing your life around someone else's emotional needs while neglecting your own. Appointments get rescheduled, plans get cancelled, personal goals are postponed indefinitely. And gradually, you stop asking yourself what you need. Many men wake up years later realizing they became responsible for a life that was never truly theirs to manage. Once this dynamic is established, it rarely reverses. Expectations solidify, roles harden, and stepping back suddenly feels like abandonment heaven if you never agreed to step forward in the first place. This is why awareness matters more than intention, because the final cost isn't just time or energy, it's the loss of the man you worked decades to become. And that leads us to the most important truth of all. What if the greatest risk after 50 isn't being alone, but losing the man you've finally become? There is a powerful phase many men enter between 50 and 70 that few fully recognize. It's not decline, it's not fading, it's a second rise. You are calmer than ever, more selective, less reactive. You understand yourself. entering them without boundaries does. A grounded man doesn't cling. He chooses. Space to explore interests. Space to deepen discipline. Space to live deliberately. He no longer offers his time, energy, or emotional strength by default. And paradoxically, this makes him more attractive not because he tries, but because he is centered. The right woman doesn't pull him off his path. She walks beside it. She doesn't demand his peace. She respects it. She doesn't drain his energy. She arrives with her own best. Distinction matters more now than ever. A Stoic man understands this. He doesn't reject relationships. He rejects any connection that costs him his clarity, his purpose, or his inner stability. Peace is not emptiness.